Today's video is going to be about checking in on the goals that we set ourselves 30 days ago. So you may be slightly out of time with me and my goals. I set my goals on the 6th of January, so I'm actually checking in 2 days early. But just kind of bear with me, use this as an example of the process that you would do on your day 30 or day 60 to kind of check in on your longer term 90-day goals. So what the purpose of today really is about is what happens when you weren't able to achieve your goals. So I did a review of my goals yesterday, and I had a look through all the things that I wrote down. And I'm going to obviously if you're new to this, you won't know this, but we set goals across 4 different areas. We set goals in fitness and health. We set goals in family and friends. We set goals in focus and mindset. And we set goals in fun and hobbies. So I set myself a few different targets in each of those areas, and I was successful in some, unsuccessful in others. And I'm going to talk you through the process that I'm going through now to evaluate and basically move the goalposts so that I, find it more achievable the next time, or factor in different barriers and obstacles that I wasn't prepared for. Okay, so before you set goals, it's always useful to look ahead and try to predict where you might fall down. So it could be, the amount of time that you have available. It could be money. It could be family. It could be getting poorly. It could be any of those things. And we need to try and come up with a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and as many different kind of alternate plans as we can, so that we have the best chance of actually achieving what we want to achieve and getting what we want to. Sorry, losing my voice. Getting what we want to experience at the end of that 30 days, okay? And there is absolutely nothing wrong with, especially the first time you do this, the first time you do it, you won't necessarily know what you're capable of, and you won't necessarily have the ability to predict everything that might happen. And even if this is the 3rd or 4th or 10th time that you're doing this like me, there will still be curveballs that get thrown in and things that happen that you didn't expect. So this is a process of planning and executing, but bearing in mind that we always have to react to what's going on in the outside world, and realise that sometimes we just don't have control over everything, and that's okay. All right, so the barriers that I factored in was basically, I had no events that were going on, so I kind of thought, well, there's nothing really to consider there. And I pretty much thought I've got a nice consistent 90-day block that I can really apply myself to. And I set myself some fairly kind of broad and kind of some of them quite challenging goals in terms of being accountable. So in terms of my fitness goals, I was able to complete like half of them, and I was unable to complete the other half. So I did all of my gym rehab sessions, which is great. So I did all of my kind of stuff inside the gym, and I did all of my yoga targets and like 3 or 4 extra ones as well. So that's fantastic. And my other goals were about swimming and dancing. So I was unable to attend the dance class because it got cancelled. So, obviously that's out of my control. So that's something, yes, I get a cross in my box. If I can show you on here, it'll probably be backwards for you. I get a cross in my box for dancing up here. But at the end of the day, I didn't control having the class cancelled, so that's not something that I feel bad about. And then obviously with my ear infections, I've not been able to go swimming. So again, in my boxes, I've not actually crossed them yet, but I crossed it at the end to say I was not able to do it because my ears got poorly, and I was told by the doctor that I wasn't allowed to go swimming. So again, that's something that I just have to kind of accept and go, that was my plan. But, in response to that, maybe I did some more yoga, maybe I went out for a few more walks and spent more time with the puppy. So, I kind of transitioned that energy and time from that goal over into other areas. I've not necessarily been accountable to those extra things, but I know in my mind that I did that, so I'm happy with that area. So I would consider that to be a success, even though I wasn't able to achieve half of the goals. I consider myself to be really happy with that, and I look at that and I basically have a continuation for that now. So for day 60, I've adapted those goals. So I've kept the gym rehab the same. Again, it's probably backwards for you. I'm really sorry about that. But so my gym rehab is the same. So going from 8 times building up to 16 times. That is in total by day 60, not in addition to. So I'm not trying to double the workload. I'm basically trying to be consistent and do 8 more sessions in the next 30 days. So swimming and dancing are out for me now. So the dance class has been discontinued for a while Ultra Ballroom starts again. And obviously my ears are still infected, so I still can't swim. So I've opted to keep myself accountable in other ways. So I'm adding in 4 hilly walks at Croft Hill and 4 times on the rowing machine in the gym, because again that is something my physio told me would be a good thing to do as a kind of in addition to the rehab I'm doing otherwise. Okay, and I'm sticking with the idea of doing the yoga, and I've actually increased that based on my kind of excessive yogaing in the first 30 days. So I intended to do 4 in the first 30 days. I did 7. So I've just kind of upped the ante for day 60, and I've said that I'll do 7 more. So again, I'm just keeping myself accountable, and I'll check in again with this at day 60 and let you know how it went on. Okay. The other areas of my goals, I was pretty good with family and friends, so I managed to do every single thing as a tick next to it in there. In my focus area, I listened to all of the podcasts and audiobooks that I said I was going to do, but I fell a little bit short on the headspace. But what I'm going to say about that is, so before I set these goals, I would have said I was maybe doing like 2 or 3 headspaces a month. And if you consider from going from 2 or 3 up to, I think that's they're in blocks of 10, so that's 12 headspaces. No, hold on. 22 headspaces. That's a dramatic improvement. Okay, so again, I didn't reach the goal that I set myself, but I am much happier about what I did achieve, and I think I've made a massive improvement. And I've adjusted my day 60 goal down here. So instead of aiming for 1 every day, I've given myself a little bit of leeway. I've dropped it down to 50 instead of 60. Okay, so it gives me a little bit of space to do it. There's still 30 boxes there, so if I exceed that, I can still log it and be accountable. Okay. And then in terms of my fun and hobby goals, so these were more about kind of laughing more, having more fun, being, just generally feeling a bit better on the kind of free time side of things. So my goals were to watch comedy at least 12 times, to book in a comedy night based on some tickets I got for Christmas, to do 2 drum lessons, and to play the guitar 8 times. So in here you can see I smashed the comedy target. I'm finding it really good to just put a bit of comedy on when I have my breakfast, just have a real laugh in the morning, and when I go on walks and things as well. I often listen to Chris Ramsey's podcast, which is disgusting and hilarious in equal measure. I reviewed the gig tickets, so I'm going to book that in today, and I did actually extra double drums. I did 4 lessons instead of 2, and I played the guitar 6 times instead of 8, but again, because I did more drumming, a bit less guitaring, again, I know that I've increased and improved on my balance in terms of how I'm spending my time. Okay, so that is an example using my personal goals of how I've reviewed my goals, adapted them for the next phase, so that the ones that weren't possible, I've now turned them into something else. And at every stage, I feel proud of myself for what I've achieved. I've made a plan, I've done my best, I've had some curveballs thrown in with the dance lessons being cancelled and my ear infections that have been kind of starting to get me down a little bit, but I've not allowed that to impact on my choices. And even though I can't really hear a lot at the moment, I'm still getting on the guitar, and to be honest, it's probably better that I can't hear myself play because I'm not that good. But anyway, so that is a review of the goals. If you are getting up to your day 30, or if you just passed that, get your goal setting out, get the papers out or the book out, wherever you did them in, and make sure you take stock, give yourself credit, and kind of renew the goals for the next 30 days. You can bring them up, bring them down, or keep them the same. You've got to base it on the challenges that you see ahead of you, and kind of base it on what you achieved over the last 30 days. It's a constant tweaking process. We need to kind of monitor what we do and adjust it slightly based on what we think is the best way forward. All we can do is predict our best efforts, try our best, and then kind of go along tweaking it as necessary. Okay? So thanks so much for your time, get onto those goals, get some targets written down, and I will catch you on this kind of video and then over the next 30 days. And obviously I'll be checking in on other things during the week. See you soon.